Now we enter the real mainland of the Queen's Gambit declines, where white remains flexible and develops the knights to c3 and f3 like this. Often this position occurs in different move orders. For instance, white could play a very early knight f3 and then later knight c3. But anyway, this is in a way the starting position of the Queen's Gambit declines. And we go for the classical move, bishop e7. There are many other options, but this is what this course is about. Here white can choose between bishop g5 and bishop f4. Bishop g5 was the old main line, but these days bishop f4 is just as popular. Of course, I will cover both moves. We start with bishop g5, and I like to ask the bishop at once what it wants to do. The normal reaction from white is to retreat the bishop to h4, but it's also possible to take on f6. Black has the pair of bishops here, but white has wasted no time at all. One of the ideas behind the move h6 at once, I should perhaps mention, is that maybe we are not forced to castle at once, because after bishop g5, many black players, they just castle and they play h6 afterwards, but there is a difference and you will see it soon. Okay, back to the main line in this chapter. At first, you might think that white can go e4. It looks very tempting to break in the center. But after take and knight c6, the white d-pawn is vulnerable. White has to take on f6, and we take back. Black is ready to castle and play rook d8 and put pressure on d4. And another idea for black is just to push e5 and attack the center that way. Let's see some moves. Queen d2 is natural, castle. Now black is ready to play both e5 and rook d8. White can play queen e3, it stops the e5 idea. Rook d8, attacking the pawn. White can castle and protect it at the same time. This looks very interesting. Always positions with opposite castling are worth a look. b6, we need to finish development. Bishop b7. I think black is fine here. The white king is maybe a little more insecure than the black one. There's pressure on the d-pawn, but be careful not to take it too soon, because it's protected by the discovered check, bishop h7 check. But black can try different stuff here. For instance, maybe the knight move to b4 can be disturbing, opening for the bishop. And all in all, an interesting position with chances for both sides. White can also try to play queen b3. It puts pressure on d5. It's possible to defend it with c6, but that's also a little passive. I prefer to take it, and white must take back with the queen. I think white's queen is perhaps a bit awkward on c4 in front of the rest of the army. We castle. If white takes the center with e4, we can already exploit the position of the queen by playing a6, intending a quick b5. White has to play very active not to be in an inferior position, so e5, bishop e7, bishop d3, very natural development, b5, queen b3, and now the final important move, c5. White can't keep the center anymore. Taking on c5 is almost forced, but unfortunately for white, that will leave the e5 pawn rather weak and give black a lot of good squares for the pieces. The bishop can come here, the knight can come here, and probably we take back on c5 with this bishop. This is just nice for black. If white plays a little more calm with the move e3, then knight d7, with the idea to break with c5 or e5, which white can prevent by putting the rook on the same file as our queen. But here I found a new way to play with black, knight b6, hitting the queen, and then knight d5. I think this is just fine for black. If white tries to take the center with e4, we can capture and play c5 with great counterplay. The bishop on f6 is really strong, attacking both d4 and c3 if white takes on c5. If white tries to keep the tension, play knight e4, then after b6, black is fine. The bishop will be strong on b7 and there's no problems at all. After black castles, the critical move is g3. White tries to get a Catalan position with a strong bishop on g2 and which will exert pressure on the long diagonal. If black is not careful, it is possible to end up in an inferior position, but fortunately we have a stunning pawn sacrifice. We go b5, and white must take it, and then knight d7. Black is ready to harass the white queen with the move rook b8, and also attacking the center with the move c5. White is behind in development and still has the king in the center, which gives black fair ground for optimism. Bishop g2, c5, castle, rook b8, attacking the queen, can go to a4, a5, protecting the pawn and also taking more space. Now d4, b2 are weak, and the move rook b4 is in the air. So white probably has to take on c5. Here the game between Grischuk and Gelfand in the candidates 2011 was agreed drawn. These days it wouldn't be legal to take a draw so quickly. But let's see what could have happened. Knight takes, queen b6, attacking the pawn, rook b1, now bishop a6, followed by rook f to c8. Black has great play for the pawn. I've tried to put down some arrows to show all the black possibilities. Black's pieces are extremely strong and active, so this is just good. White can also play queen c2. Again, I prefer to take on c4. This is a key move in nearly all the lines. That makes it easier to remember. White should make sure to regain the pawn and play e3. A tempting move like long castling can be met by the surprising bishop d7, e4, and now b5, and suddenly black protects the extra pawn, and it's just much better. White has no compensation here. So after d takes c4, white must go for e3. And here we play c5 with a good version of the main line. Queen d2 is another attempt. I'm simply going through all the white candidate moves without playing e3 at once. e3 is the big main line, so we'll come to that in a minute. But queen d2 is also possible. Again, I like to take on c4 immediately. Also here, if white plays e3, we go c5 with good play, so the only serious try is e4. And again, the counter strike c5. White can't maintain the center. If white goes e5, then the intermediate move c takes d4 is good for black. Also, if white takes on c5, then simply knight d7 is really fine for black. You're ready to take the pawn back with the knight. So after c5, white's best move is d5. We take. If white just takes back with the knight, then knight c6 is really nice. We have an excellent square here on d4. So white should try the move e5, which is quite complicated. However, black is really doing well in the following lines. Bishop g5. If you take it, I take back with the pawn. Queen takes. And now the strong move, bishop e6. It attacks white's queen. And yeah, it also sacrifices the b7 pawn, but black will get really nice piece play if white takes it. Like this, then just knight d7. I think this is extremely dangerous for white. Rook b8 is coming, threatening the queen. The e5 pawn is weak. And also the black rook on h8 can be activated. You can play rook h4 and it can come to the central square d4 in no time. So this is pretty good for black, I'm sure. So it's more obvious to check what happens if white exchanges the queens and castles with check. We block the d file, and then white can go knight e4. This might look attractive at first. White threatens g5 and also the c5 pawn because the black knight is pinned. But after the cool move g4, knight takes c5, king e7, black is doing really well in the ending. White can't win the c4 pawn due to trouble on the c file. So we just have a nice game and d5 pawn remains weak. So let's go back to this c5, d5 takes e5, and we play bishop g5. Instead of taking on g5, white can play queen takes d5 immediately. I think we should just exchange queen takes d5. This is a good move suggested by Pepe Cuenca. Kasparov played knight c6 in this position against Karpov in their first World Championship match. But I like the text move more, it's more forcing and it leads to good play for black. And now the retreat, bishop d8. We had to protect against this nasty check. But also, we want to keep our bishop pair, which we do now. White takes the pawn back, castle, castle, knight c6. I think this is just fine for black. I can try bishop b5, maybe threatening to take the knight and ruin our pawn structure, but we just protect it. And we have the bishops. Slowly but surely, black can untangle with moves like rook c8, then chasing the white bishop away, and maybe bishop e6. Later we can also play knight e7 to get rid of the white knight. So I'm sure black is doing really well in this ending. Okay, back to this position. I've shown all white's minor tries. The real main line is e3. Just securing the center and preparing to develop the light squared bishop and castle. And in this position, nearly all black players, they just castle automatically. This has been played in thousands of games. Now white has a lot of different approaches. Queen c2, queen d2, and also rook c1, and all of them are somewhat easier to play for white. Black is okay theoretically, but you have to play quite exact, and it's really hard to remember everything sometimes. So instead of that, I have come up with this move, d takes c4. I think it's a stunning new idea that more or less kills all the attraction of bishop takes f6 for white. The move equalizes on the spot, and it's so simple then it's quite amazing that nobody really thought about it before. But anyway, after this course, the beast is out in the open. It's not entirely a novelty, but the move d takes c4 has only been played in a few serious games, while the automatic short castle has been played in thousands of games, like I said. Okay, of course, white takes the pawn back immediately, and now the point. Black attacks the center immediately and prepares to simplify even more with c takes d4. So white has to find a way to keep the game going without letting black equalize too easily. A move like knight e4 suggests itself. It threatens the pawn on c5, and it can also eliminate black's strong bishop on f6. We are forced to take. white can take, check, we take back with the queen. And here, if white takes with his queen on d4, trying to get a small pull in the ending, a simple way to equalize for black is to play bishop d7 followed by knight c6. It's important to start with the move bishop d7, so you won't get a bad pawn structure. If you play knight c6 at once, white can take it and you're left with a horrible structure. So instead, white could also take with the knight. Castle, castle. And here you need to play one more precise move. That is rook d8. In a blitz game, I played bishop d7 with the idea to go knight c6, but in this position, my opponent could have played queen b3 with some pressure. So the right way to do it is to play rook d8. This threatens e5, so white has to move the queen. Queen b3. This is the most active. Also, attacking b7, so it's impossible for black to play the standard bishop d7 followed by knight c6. So we have to find another way to develop the queen side. The solution is b6. And if rook f d1, then knight a6. Black has solved all his problems. Black is ready to play knight c5 and bishop b7 with a good position. If white tries the forcing, bishop takes a6 and knight c6, which might look strong at first, then after the cool move, rook d to c8, black is already somewhat better, because the bishop will be a long-term asset and the knight lacks a stable good square. On d4, it can always be kicked with the move e5, so black is just really, really fine here. So after c5, white can also try the move d5. This is really tempting. However, it opens the diagonal for this bishop and makes it much stronger. It's possible to flick in bishop takes c3 check, but I prefer just to take on d5. Maybe we won't give away our strong bishop so easy. Now, white has three possible ways to recapture on d5, and it isn't clear which one is the best. Let's see them. Queen takes. This is the least critical. Here I like to flick in this bishop takes c3 check, because the queens come off and it's nice to weaken white's pawn structure. We take king e7. Black has no problems here. The bishop on d5 is very strong, but it can be attacked with rook d8 and also with knight d7 to f6. So black will quite easily get his pieces out and have a fine position. In the long run, the pawn on c3 might be weak, as well as the one on a2. So I would be very confident if I had a position like this. So d5, e takes. White can also take with the bishop. Again, the bishop is strong on d5, but we can quickly attack it. After castle, castle, knight d7, the knight can go to b6 next and attack the bishop. Again, black has a good position. After the center has been cleared, this bishop is really, really strong. So If white goes d5, I think the best move is probably to take with the knight. It's a pawn sacrifice. Black can take on b2. After rook b1, bishop f6, castle, castle. Queen c2, with the idea to go rook fd1. White has good play for the pawn, but no immediate threats. I think we can play knight c6, and here we can even leave the queen on d8, because white is not really threatening anything apart from maybe knight b6. So if we just play this cool move, rook b8, so the rook cannot be attacked, then it's not so easy to see what white will do. That said, I still think Black's position is somewhat uncomfortable, and I think I'd rather not take on b2, because we have a much safer solution, just to castle, and after castle, then knight a6. I like this very original solution. It more or less provokes white to take on a6, but of course you could also play the other knight moves, like knight c6 or even knight d7. But sometimes I like to play unusual moves that are sound, but very interesting moves, and it makes it much harder for white just to play standard chess. If white just plays a move like queen e2, then the knight can come to here, and we will get rid of white's strong knight on d5. So rook d1, queen b6. Again, the bishop on d5 is nice, but we can always exchange it with bishop e6. Black has no problems. Also, our remaining bishop on f6 is very strong. We are attacking the white queen side. White can also play queen c2. But here we have another original move available. We can go to b4, attacking the queen and the knight. And after knight 6, c takes b4, we have a very interesting pawn structure. The double pawns on the b file is unusual, but it gives some initiative, some space on the queen side, and it's hard for white to use the extra pawn in the center, the e pawn. Let's see a few moves. If rook d1, very tempting to attack the black queen, but it can go here, and yeah, we have the pair of bishops. A sample line goes rook c1 to protect the queen, rook d8, h3, preventing black from playing bishop g4. And now we take more space on the queen side, a5, e4, finally the move. This is white's extra pawn, you can call it, but yeah, we also have an extra pawn on the queen side, although it's a double pawn. I think we have good play here. If white should play b3 at some point, then our bishop gets a really nice outpost on c3, so black should just be fine here. So after knight a6, the critical move is to take it. And probably white should also eliminate our strong bishop pair, so take on f6 as well. This is the critical position. At first it looks good for white, because of our damaged pawn structure. But if you look a little closer, you realize that our bishop, in fact, is much stronger than the knight. The knight lacks a stable square, and the bishop will be really good at b7. Let's see something like queen c2, attacking our pawn, bishop b7, threatening to take the knight. e4 is very likely, and then rook c8. And the e4 pawn is just as vulnerable almost as the c5 pawn, and the bishop is just strong. So black is not worse. Both sides have chances here. White could also just castle after c5, but that makes black's life really easy. You take, white take back, then castle. The position is equal. Personally, I prefer black because I like to play against an isolated queen's pawn. However, white can get rid of the pawn by playing d5. We can see a very likely continuation, something like rook c1, knight c6, d5, take, and bishop takes. And here I like the move bishop f5, and I think black is slightly better. The black bishops are just really, really strong. Of course, the pawn structure is symmetrical, so it's hard to maybe create some concrete threats, but black is very, very comfortable. So after c5, white can also consider to take the pawn. Anyway, this is a radical way to prevent black from playing c takes d4. Here we flick in this nice move because we ruined white's pawn structure and play queen f5. If we can win, especially the c5 pawn, but also the c3 pawn back, then black will have the superior pawn structure and good positional chances. So white activates the queen and protects both pawns. Castle, castle. And rook d8. It's also possible to play knight c6, but I like rook d8. White can try the tricky move queen h4. It eyes the rook on d8, so black needs to be a little careful. Knight c6, rook d1. And here a really nice idea that is important to remember because we do it in similar positions. Bishop d7, intending to go to e8. Then the bishop is out from c8 and the black rooks are connected, and on e8 the bishop is not in the way of the other black pieces. For instance, rook d6, this looks very attractive. Bishop e8, rook a d1, and here this nice idea, rook c8, black side steps. We have no intention of taking on d6 and give white a strong passed pawn. No. Instead, we are hoping to get great play on the c file. Queen e4, another tricky queen move. White wants to set up this battery and enter our position with a nasty check. I think it's in our best interest to try to disturb it. So we played a really nice move, queen a4. So if white moves the bishop, we can exchange the queens. So this is a key move. At the same time, we prepare to play knight a5. If we can exchange queens and win back the pawn on c5, black is just better because white will have weak pawns on c3 and a2 afterwards, and black will have a really nice structure. So after rook d8, white can also play queen f4. We go knight c6. If you take the pawn immediately, then I can play rook fd1 and have some initiative. I believe the pawn on c5 is not running away, so let's try to fix our development first. Rook d1 and bishop d7. Again, this key move. Black has no problems. We intend bishop e8 and afterwards taking on c5. A sample line is rook b1 attacking b7, bishop e8. Now white cannot take on b7 because the rook would be hanging on d1, so exchange on d8. We take with the knight, so the b pawn is protected. White can return to d4 with the queen, protecting both c3 and c5. But after rook c8, it's hard to imagine that white can keep this pawn, and afterwards black has just strong pressure down the c-file. So black is simply better. This is the rather simple solution against bishop takes f6. I will just make 2 points. Remember to play h6 immediately, because if black has already castled, it's not possible to play our main idea. And after take e3, the key move is to take on c4 immediately, and then go c5 with no problems at all. So I think now bishop takes f6 is history. It will hardly be seen anymore, but I'll see you in the next chapter.